Michael, if you would.
This meeting is being recorded.
Shabbat Shalom, Baruch Hashem.
Shabbat
Michael, you'll
shalom.
start reading in chapter 50 of Psalms.
Sure. A song of Asaph. Almighty Elohim, Yahweh, spoke and called to the earth from the rising of the sun to its setting. Out of Zion, consummation of beauty, Elohim appeared. Our Elohim will come and not be silent. A fire will consume before him, and his surroundings are exceedingly turbulent. He will call to the heavens above and to the earth to avenge his people. Gather my devoted ones unto me, sealers of my covenant through offerings. Then the heaven proclaimed his righteousness, for Elohim is the judge.
Oh. So, one of the ways that he gathers his pious ones, sealers of his covenant, is through what? Offerings. That might get your attention a little bit. Read the next two verses.
Verse 7.
6 and 7, please.
Then the heavens proclaimed his righteousness, for Elohim is the judge. Pay heed, my people, and I shall speak. Israel, and I shall bear witness against you. El, your Elohim, am I. Want me to keep going?
Yes, read 8 through 15.
Okay. Starting in verse 8. I shall not rebuke you for your offerings, nor for your burnt offerings, my constant concern. I take not from your household any bull, nor from your pens any goats. For mine is every beast of the forest, the cattle of 1,000 mountains. I know every bird of the mountains, and what creeps upon my fields is with me. Even were I hungry, I would not tell you, for mine is the world and its fullness. Do I eat the flesh of bulls or drink the blood of goats? Offer Elohim confession, then redeem your vows to the Most High, and call upon me in the day of distress. I will release you, and you will honor me. But to the wicked, Elohim said,
Hold on.
all right.
Hold on, please.
Yep.
You're reading well. We just need to take this a piece at a time.
Got it.
Now, why are we told we need an offering system when it's saying here he doesn't care about the offerings? That's what most people get from that. He says he won't rebuke us for the offerings. And he says he's not that concerned about burnt offerings. And he says he doesn't take a bull from our household. He doesn't take any goats from our pens. He says they all already belong to him. So
maybe we're the ones that need the offering system and not him.
My. Now we're going to have to connect a little bit to help you out. Not you individually, everybody.
Sure.
And for that, we're going to have to go back to Better Sheet again. In chapter 1, in verse 24, Vayomer, and he said, let the earth bring out living creatures according to their species. And here is where it says domesticated animals, crawling creatures, and wild beasts, each according to a species. And it said he made the wild beasts according to a species, the domesticated animal according to its species, and all crawling creatures of earth according to their species. And then after that, he says, let us make man in our form, like our likeness. They will dominate the fish of the sea, the birds of the heaven, the domesticated animals. But it doesn't say the wild beast. And it says the entire earth and all the creatures which crawl upon the earth. Now, some Bibles do say rule, but dominate means to do what?
To dominate means to rule over.
In what fashion?
Like completeness. Overwhelming fashion.
To me, it seems like the reason for the sacrificial system is because without it, we wouldn't necessarily attempt to repair anything that any type of a damage or anything that we did. We would find a way. We would find a reason not to.
Okay. Now, from Hebrew, the word dominate being transferred is actually the right root word, but not the right tense. It says that we're to have dominion. What does that mean?
Authority.
Okay. Well, you notice that it said the domesticated animals and the earth. Okay. It didn't say anything about the wild animals, the beasts, did it?
Mm-hmm.
It didn't say we had dominion over everything in the earth.
Right.
It was specific.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, for that dominion to be authority, Patrick, it would be similar to Yeshua's encounter in the form of a man whenever the demons inside of the pigs saw him.
Mm-hmm.
They said, have you come before our time to torment us? They didn't challenge him. They didn't do military strategy. They didn't say, okay, we got to get ready for this attack. Okay, we got to we got to fight our best, the best we can do. They didn't do anything like that.
No, they didn't.
They didn't say, we got to fight to the last demon against this.
Wouldn't have done any good.
They recognized Yeshua's authority with the name Yod He
Right.
Wah He.
Hmm.
They didn't make any attempt to be contrary or to be indifferent or anything else.
Right.
They said, why have you come to torment us before our time? Let
Mhm.
us come out of the pig. Let us go into the pigs. And he said, go. So they left the man and went into the pigs. And then they forced the pigs to run off the cliff into the sea.
Mhm.
Now, that was a kind of a one-sided battle, if you want to call it a battle at all.
Sure.
All they were doing is scurrying around trying to find a place to hide from him.
Right.
Now, Patrick, that's authority.
Right.
He didn't have to stand up and put on his best uniform and put all his gee whiz and glittering gold on and you see who I am. You know who I am. You know what my authority is. He didn't have to do any of that.
Mm-mm.
Now you get a better idea what dominion is now. It isn't so much authority because the authority has said we have dominion. So while
Right.
we don't have that authority, we're doing as instructed, having dominion. But the authority has still told the animals, I've given them dominion over you, so you know what you got to do. Are you following me? Does
Sure.
that make any sense?
Mhm.
Really, Michael?
Yep.
We don't have the authority. So no matter how much of a temper tantrum we have, it still is not going to give us authority. We have dominion instead. And that was put in place. If a policeman comes up behind you and he's got his lights on, what do? You either
Pull over.
pull over or you take some stupid pills and you decide to run away.
Well, I choose to pull over. I choose to
Okay.
pull over.
You don't know how many cops are out there until you start running away from one, and all of a sudden everybody else and his cousin that's a cop comes on out there after you too.
Right.
How dare you run away from one of us? Now I'm making a little bit of a funny, but you get the idea. Okay. With authority, those that are under that authority, they know this. They're not making any attempt to fight that authority, go against that authority, be contrary to it. They know.
Mhm.
And they act accordingly.
Mhm.
I was in a study one time with a group and I asked them, how come so many times people will respond quickly to man's laws and they don't respond so quickly to the Most High's laws? And there's one woman that had been through 4 years of Bible training in a Bible college, a seminary. She said, well, that's easy because man laws will sting you quickly. We can maybe get forgiveness from the Most High and get past that. She gave a very honest answer. In like manner, though, because the Most High's authority says that we have dominion, everything that He gave us dominion over responds to that dominion.
Mhm.
Now, what happens if we decide not to walk in step with the Most High, walking with Him in His ways? What happens to that dominion from that authority?
We don't have it. We're not using it.
That's right.
Michael and I kind of touched upon this last night, even though this isn't the way we were talking about it. But I get the point of what you're saying, and it's we have dominion, but if you choose not to use it, that doesn't mean you still don't have it. It doesn't mean you're not responsible for it. It just means that you chose not to do it.
Well, it's not so much a choice actively like that. It is all determined whether or not you're walking with him or not. And you meet the criteria of what he has for us to walk with him. That's not so much our choice as it is his choice in response to us and our choices. Us having that dominion is based on our agreement with him, our covenant with him, and of us walking with him.
Mm-hmm.
Just come together a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Now, the reason I bring this up is because in the Psalms where we just read, the reason it says what it says is because everything already belongs to him. We've been given dominion over part of it as long as we walk with him. That being said, he's given us a way to use what belongs to him as we belong to him to take care of the necessary atonement, the guilt, the atonement for the guilt, and forgiveness from the Most High.
Yeah.
So, go ahead. Where the Psalms are showing, if you read it wrong, you'll see that he appears to be indifferent to whether or not we offer the offerings. But yet and still, it was his commandment for us to do that. Now, does it look as though he's really indifferent? He's letting us know everything belongs to him, including us. But he's given us a way and a means to walk with him without any difficulty on a daily basis. Now, the temple is not standing today. And more importantly, the Mishkan is not standing. It's not raised up. So for 3 to 4 of those classes of offerings, we're unable to do them. Now, there's only one offering that we don't do anymore. Do you remember what that is? It says in Scripture that Yeshua was the last acceptable sin offering. Even though he didn't do forgiveness on the cross, he did atonement. And so that atonement was for what? So all the guilt could be wiped away. What do we still need to do with the atonement? Ask for forgiveness.
Right.
Now, Yeshua had a habit when he was in his public ministry. When people would be healed and made whole, he would tell at least one or so, 2 of them, go to the covenant and do what he instructs you to do according to the teachings of Moshe. But he also told people, go. And what did he tell them not to do anymore?
Sin no more.
Don't sin anymore. Don't disobey Torah anymore. Or the worst thing can come upon you.
Right.
Okay. So, if people are being Torah observant, is there a necessity for the offerings to get atonement?
No, there wouldn't be, because it's not, the Torah isn't judging you anymore.
That's right. Torah can only judge you when you misstep and you go against it. Therefore, you've sinned. When you sin, you incur guilt. So it would behoove us to seek after all the fruit of the Spirit we can get every day, have it producing and reproducing in our heart and life, and it all has to remain to honor the Father. Because the end result, what we're really trying to do is every ways and means we can honor the Father, give him honor. So when we go to the house of Israel and we start that building of righteousness in our lives as he starts justifying us, when we get to the degree, since we're no longer being judged by Torah, who's judging us? The right hand of power.
Mhm.
So if you were to turn to 2 Peter chapter 1, verses 11 through 13, you would see once he's satisfied with how mature we've gotten in righteousness, he opens the door and offers us an entrance into the kingdom.
Right.
Once you get into the kingdom, one of the identifying marks for us with the kingdom is we won't just have the fruit of the Spirit anymore. We will have fruit of the light. But it takes a lot of the fruit of the Spirit producing and reproducing within us, and for the fruit of the Spirit to grow, and in turn to grow us, changing our perspective, changing our thinking, changing our direction, all within Torah, so that we are no longer breaking any Torah. Torah can't judge us anymore, and we go from the house of Yaakov to the house of Israel. We're no longer transactional. We do things because of the fruit of the Spirit is stirring our heart to it, and we begin to be clothed in righteousness. Now the judge is revealed to us in 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 11 through 13. Anybody get there?
Yeah.
I heard a page flapping. Anybody want to read?
Let me turn the light.
Say it again, please.
2 Peter chapter 1, 11 to 13. Let's see.
Thanks.
For thus will entrance be given you abundantly into the everlasting kingdom of our Master and Redeemer, Yeshua the Mashiach. And for this reason, I am not wearied in reminding you continually of these things, although you know them and are established in truth. And it seems right to me, so long as I am in this body, to excite you by imparting to you a remembrance. Oh, let's see.
So who's the judge for the house of Israel? You didn't read it very well in verse 9 and 10. I only gave you to go to 10. That's true. This is going to get very interesting for you. Boy, oh boy.
Well, it'd be the right hand of power.
Yes.
He's the word.
You are correct. And how did you come up with that?
Because the right hand of power is also the word.
Is it really? Now, in 2 Peter chapter 1, in verse 9, now we'll take it back to verse 8. For while these are found in you and abounding, not just found in you, but abounding as well, they render you to be not lazy and not unfruitful in the recognition of our Master Yeshua, the Mashiach, the Anointed One.
Mhm.
For he in whom these things are not found is blind and does not see, and has forgotten the purification of his former sins. Oh my.
Hmm.
Now, in verse 10, and therefore, my brothers, you be exceedingly diligent to make your calling and election certain by your good actions, for by doing, you will never fall away. You always hear people talking about falling away. As if you want to get past that, this is what you got to do. Takes a lot of fruit of the Spirit. In verse 11, for thus will entrance be given you abundantly into the everlasting kingdom of our Master Redeemer, Yeshua, the Anointed One.
100%.
So, what does it take to get there? You got to get out of the house of Yaakov, stop being transactional, enough fruit of the Spirit to where you're not sinning, you're not breaking Torah, get pushed into the house of Israel, begin to grow in righteousness, a lot more than you had so far, to the point where the right hand of power is satisfied with it and lets you know it, opens the door for you to gain an entrance into the kingdom. Then all that remains is for you to make the choice to go
Mhm.
through that door into the kingdom.
Hallelujah.
Shalom, y'all.
Come on, John.
Hey, Shabbat Shalom, John.
Ooh, Shabbat Shalom.
Well, it's a John Harden and Maria.
Yeah.
Shabbat Shalom, Kol Hallel, Baruch
Yeah.
Hashem.
Yeah, good to have you join us today, John.
Great to be here.
How have you been?
I'm recovering from the flu, to be exact.
Okay.
I'm still weak.
No.
Shabbat Shalom. We are
Shabbat
in the
shalom.
casa.
Well, John, which of those 1,000 to 10,000 flu viruses did you choose to get?
I don't know, but I got I got a pneumonia shot. It may be a reaction to that. And one day this week, we were working out in the yard, getting Maria's garden ready, and it was a beautiful, warm, sunny afternoon. That night, I started getting sick, and
Poland, because they ran tests on him and he did not have any of the viruses.
yeah, they did a procedure that
Extensive.
tested for about, I don't know, 12, 13 different conditions, and mine came up flu. So I've been kind of taking it easy there.
But not contagious.
Yes, infectious. The doctor said I was infectious and to stay away from people for several days.
I've been here with him and praise.
She's been with me for 41 years and she's not infected yet.
Fine.
Good to hear your voice, John, and your wife as well.
Rabbi, you're gonna be real proud of me. I'm gonna make Maria a pastrami Reuben a little later on.
Okay.
Yeah.
I found something interesting on YouTube. Adolf Hitler's files were discovered in a small town in Germany. After World War II, the meticulous files that the Nazis kept on every inmate were discovered and sent to this one central place and stored. And no one saw them for years until now. They came to light. And the Nazis were so crazy with their record keeping, they even took measurements of the lice that the poor inmates had. Can you imagine that? Big, little, or small? And they found Schindler's List, and they found a file relating to Anneliese Marie Frank, who we know as Anne Frank.
Right.
It was unbelievable. It's kind of a sickness to me. But they were,
Well, that is noteworthy.
yeah. Well, anyway, sorry to be late, but life got in the way. And could you tell me, please, where we are in the Word?
Well, I could, but we're about the time to take a break so everybody can take care of things as they need to for about 30, 40 minutes.
Well, I'll make
But,
those Rubens.
I'm sure if you'll talk to Michael, he'll be able to bring you up.
Okay.
Would you do
Sounds
that,
good.
Michael?
Yep, let's pause right now and we'll meet everyone back in about 45 minutes. Hang on, John, please.
Just tell me before you go where we were in the scripture.